right, there's been various comings and goings into the Eagles facility. So let's look at who the Eagles are bringing in for visits, as well as some of the kids that they talked to at the combine. What's up? It's your boy Cintron coming back with another news/analysis video. And I kid you not, that's my real name. And man, the Eagles are allowed 30 visits for each draft season to bring in prospects they want to interview. And also at the combine, I think probably that's probably a lot of number that the kids can talk to, but they have numerous amounts of interviews they can conduct on the field, interview their prospective employees. So let's take a look at who they talked to at the combine, as well as who they brought into the facility. So you're gonna see a constant theme here. Let's see, defensive end, offensive tackle, offensive guard. Well, he's also a tackle. Offensive tackle, defensive end, defensive tackle. So they're leaning heavy towards the line, and tendencies tend to tell. Of course, there's some that are going to be dummy runs here that are just brought in to throw off the scent by way of them being a future interview for someone they have interest in, but they're not going to draft or be able to draft, and they might hit free agency. And we want to have a initial feel for them, initial report, and also just watch and see how they develop in the league as well. So, we keep tabs on certain people. We have probably a file requisition towards this, keeping a watchful eye on the development of other players in the league. And when they become available, also maybe become available in a trade or something like that, we, jump at the chance. The guys that we bring in, it just doesn't come out of the blue. Like, what do you think about this guy? We know. How's he been doing lately, and do you think he's worth bringing in? As far as is he going to also be a fit within our culture, and has he changed since he came into the league? So these are all things that teams, their process they go through to evaluate before, during, and then after when the player is available to be acquired. So some of the guys I'm not familiar with, but the guys that I do know well enough, I'll just go offhand, and then the other ones we'll look at some photos and see some basic data that will trigger the research I did in my mind real quick. So start here with the name I always flub, Adi Tomiwa Adebawore. It took me work to get that out like that, and just like that. But anyways, the Northwestern DN, he had a combine interview with us, and just amazing. He hit it out the park, ran a 4.49, which is just fucking unheard of for a D lineman. A pure D lineman, like his size. He's like 6'1" and like 3/4, 6'2", on some reports, 282. So a solid guy. But the thing is, with that speed, he can play the edge, be a defensive end, but also stand up in some alignments, some fronts, and he's actually faster than the guy that he would be on the bookend with, our linebacker. Hassan Reddick ran a 4.52 coming into the league, and he's got him by 40 pounds, which is crazy, insane. But he can also fit into our NASCAR package when we put our DNs at the D tackle position and use them to beat the slower guards and centers on the inside in the A and B gaps, which is just insane. Like, he could bring actual D tackle size. He could be a tweener and like rotate in between those two positions even more so, because he actually fits the bill for a little bit of an undersized D tackle. So the scheme versatility that he will allow us, just tremendous. So I would love to see us pick him at like the end of the first round at number 30. I would pound the table for this. Scheme, versatility, fit, and just a monster. Just unleash him out there on the edge. Use that explosiveness that he has to eat quarterbacks alive, and he can learn from Brandon Graham for a year. Beautiful. All right, next we're gonna jump to Gervin Dexter here, defensive tackle out of Florida. Combine interview. He's 6'6", 310, great size, mirror image to like Fletcher Cox, bigger guy. Fletcher's like 6'4", 6'5", borderline 6'5". Also somewhat in that range. A little bit slimmer now, I think, in the more of the twilight years of his career, but he's a gapper. He fills space, and like those guys are coming back into popularity more so. I mean, the league is cyclical, and yeah, they're starting to get noticed again, get notoriety, become popular picks, and yeah, they offer you a lot. But I mean, he just eats and just runs through people. So he's a talented guy. Maybe he could be had like in the second round or so if we don't go first round with a tackle. Like just say we want Jalen Carter to fall to us, but let's just say he doesn't. Would be a great pickup. Paris Johnson. Here we have him, as an offensive guard, but he's really offensive tackle. Junior coming out of Ohio State. Private. We brought him in for a visit, so we got a close up and personal look at him, and who knows? Maybe we draft him, put him at backup tackle, swing tackle for this year, and then put him on the inside until maybe Lane retires and try to hold on to him. Then you don't want to completely ignore the talent out of position just because you don't have an immediate need for it. Like we just re-signed Lane Johnson to a 1-year extension through 2026, $30 million guaranteed, $33 million for that year, and just gives him 4 years left with about $80 million, $20 million per year average. But he's one of the best tackles in the league, if not the best, regardless of left or right positioning. And gutted it out this year with an injury, that would have stopped most guys in their tracks. Played unbelievably, and if you didn't know that, have foreknowledge of him having that injury, you wouldn't have been able to tell out there on the field by his performance. But standout guy, but he's more closer to the end of his career than the beginning. So putting contingency plans in place wouldn't be bad with Paris Johnson. And DeJuan Johnson, his bookend mate at Ohio State, a huge guy. I think he's like 6'8", 360, maybe more. But the guy's just huge. Could be a road grader out there. But in the meantime, maybe we can try and stuff him in, like I said, like his teammate Paris Johnson here, put him on the inside at guard, because I didn't say this in the previous prospect overview, but we have right now Jason Kelce came back for another year, so that brings his successor that we drafted in the second round, Beef Jurgens, Cam Jurgens. We're gonna slot him in at right guard this year, and let him play for most likely a year when Jason Kelce decides to hang it up. Then slide him back over. So then we're gonna have have a need for someone to fill that right guard spot. So that's where maybe one of these guys comes in. DeJuan Jones with this size, I mean, just will give us a massive O-line. But yeah, we have brought him in for a private visit as well. So we just want to get a closer look at him up close and personal. And who knows how it went, but these visits, they can get 30 of them are allotted each year. So we're not wasting. It's either future research or immediate usage. Marvin Mims, a wide receiver out of Oklahoma. He's like a shorter guy. I think he's like 5'9", 5'10", between $180, $170, maybe $190, but not a big huge guy. And he's got good hands, runs good routes, really fit for a slot role, and that maybe could put Quez on notice, because we do need someone to come in and challenge him for that position, because he maybe he's more of a natural outside receiver, but he's explosive. He has 4.36 speed, but he didn't show up when his number was called this year. And of course, he was downgrading when we brought in AJ Brown from the Titans. He got bumped from starting role, number 2 receiver, to non-starter slot. Somewhere he hadn't really played in the league, and he wasn't really highlighting the offense. It was AJ and Devonta Smith. So your snaps are gonna be limited, and you might have a tendency to run hot and cold if you're just not gonna be ready when your number is called. And at times, he looked explosive, looked great in the offense when his number was called earlier in the year. But as the weeks were on, stretches where he just wasn't used, and just it's difficult for a player to have an impact when their snaps are so limited. But it is what it is. That's just gonna be the what it is at the end of the day, what we need in this offense, because we have 2 receivers and we're going to highlight them a lot, and then everyone else is just going to be fighting for table scraps. So do we bring in another guy, and hopefully we need depth though, so maybe he can provide that. Lucas Van Ness, the Iowa defensive end, brought him in for a private visit. I think he's a redshirt sophomore, so he didn't really start, even though he was like their most talented lineman there. And the guy's huge. He's like 6'5", like 270, and he ran like I think a sub 4.7, maybe 4.5 or so. So like just great size, great speed. For but he's a tweener, not quite a defensive tackle, but also could be an end, a defensive end. He has a size, definitely, traditionally speaking, to be a defensive end, and he could float in between both positions and be very scheme versatile. He can also play probably in a 3-4, be a gapper, out there on the outside of the offensive tackle, if need be, if that's what the team drafted him to be. But there's a lot that he can provide, especially in our offense. I mean, our defense, where we want to be multiple. He'd be like a poor man's version. Well, no, he's got more size and length. So, but he has potential to grow. Him being so young, he's probably like 20 or 21. All right, Keely Ringo, the big cornerback out of Georgia, had a combine visit with him. He ran like a 4.36. He's 6 foot or 6'1", 210. Huge corner, but he's a little bit stiffer in his hips. Maybe could look at him at safety, but he has talent out there. But I think he needs some seasoning, a year or two, just to just for him to learn how to use his tools and get up to NFL speed. Like, you throw him in the fire immediately, I don't know if he survives the mental beatdown he might take from superior talent in the league. Everybody's talented, especially those wideouts. So we don't need him. So I'd say this is more maybe a future assessment type deal. Just wanted to get a look at him and kind of get a feel for him yourself. Bijan Robinson, man, running back from Texas. We brought him in ourselves to our facility for a private visit. And, man, if they pick this guy, the offense will be explosive. A back you can count on, you can lean on, has soft hands like a receiver, can run routes like a receiver, just natural hands catcher, great vision, balance. What else would you want? And would give us an immediate starter impact and just multiply this offense, make it just even more dangerous than it was last year, which is just crazy. Because they also the starters that are returning have another year in the offense. I mean, even though it'd be under a different direction, Brian Johnson, but he might actually add more things to the offense than Shane Steichen did. I mean, he was there, so there's great potential there. But man, not a lot needs to be said here. He would just make this offense that much better. All right, so let's look at the guys that I don't have such a great feel for, but we have some of their information here. Not a lot, but Anthony Bradford, the offensive guard out of LSU, could develop into the starter. They're ranked, according to the ranking here, but good size, 6'4", 332. And like I said, this would be a features pick for next year because he provide good depth though, because he has Suo Peta right now, and I can't even think about the other guys that are on the roster, but could be serviceable just in case we need somebody, because we had players that could be. Andre Dillard was a tackle, but we slotted him in at guard when Landon Dickerson checked out. So yeah, it'll be a solid pickup for us. Quick water break here, guys. Talking. Gotta love H2O. All right. It could probably be had in the mid-rounds. Julius Brents, the corner out of Kansas State, 6'3", 198, ran a 4.53. I mean, so he's got good size and decent, quite decent speed to play out there on the island. But more of a zone corner. And, I mean, that could be what Sean Desai is looking for. I don't know. But with his time in Seattle last year, they had, they play a cover 3 scheme out there. Could be what he's looking for, but this historic level draft with so many corners with a decent grade, average starter. I mean, he's right in that 13 or I think 20 or so corners with at least a third round grade. Like telling that idiot arguing with on Thomas Mott's channel that equals at least a starter, and a starter in this league is a valued player. You trust them to go out there and to add something to your team. But yeah, I mean, we could look at him as a futures pick or just depth signing, so or depth draft pick. Wanya Morris, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, 6'5", 307 senior. So, yeah, he could be a backup. I mean, yeah, you always need depth out there. So I don't know where he fits in the ranking order, but we are thin right now at a tackle. Like I said, a reserve Andre did it last year. Left for greener pastures, went to the Titans, 3-year, $29 million deal. So, no longer have that talent in the building coming off the bench. So we'll have to replenish. Jacqueline Roy, D tackle. So we lost Javon Hargrave, and also Suh and Linval Joseph, depth signings in the middle of the year. They had 1-year deals, so they're out of here. We're gonna need some guys in the rotation right now. We have Marlon and Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, Fletcher Cox, but we need to at least add another guy, maybe two, behind them, so you can be average starter. You put him in the rotation, man. 6'3", 305, and he comps to Dalvin Tomlinson. Not bad at all. Brian Young, the Alabama defensive tackle, 6'3", 294. So a little bit on the smaller size, but he can probably stand to gain a few pounds. Can develop into a starter. So I mean, would be a nice guy to put in that rotation, and offers some good upside. And he played at Alabama, so he's pro ready. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the quarterback out of UCLA, has a low ranking here. Potential just bottom of the roster as practice squad, but Philadelphia, we have a special vision for players. Jalen wasn't projected to be, who is now the second in the running in the MVP race last year, and this guy, similar size, 6'2", 203, runs like a 4.56. So I mean, hey, I take him as a developmental pick, but only as a developmental pick. And do we have the space on the roster for this year for that? Well, somebody not just take him, steal him from the practice squad. That's a gamble, so don't know. But anyways, those are the guys that we brought in and we looked at the combine. But we're gonna look into some other news here around the league. So Broncos have finalized their coaching staff, so good for them. The Green Bay Packers are still waiting on a wing and a prayer for Aaron Rodgers, and they're trying to swing that deal. But in the meantime, they re-signed Eric Wilson, a former linebacker with us here. He came in. We traded him or released him like mid-season, but he's got some talent. Gentry is a good backup signing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The big one here, Bobby Wagner going back to the Seahawks after sabbatical, a year away. Signed a 5-year, $50 million contract, but they obviously cut him. The Rams did after 1 year. Re-signing for a $7 million deal. Decent signing. A little bit too pricey for Philly. That's probably why we were out on him. But he will turn 33 this year. But he had an All-Pro season last year, so good signing for them. And I'm sure they're like, welcome home. All right, some other news. C.J. Gardner-Johnson stirring up the pot again on Twitter, responding to people saying that the next best quarterback that deserves to be paid is Lamar Jackson, when Jalen and other people are on the list. I'm like, you can't fault him for that, but was that vote of confidence motivated by some saltiness? Potentially. All right, and big news here for the Eagles. The tush push, a.k.a. the quarterback sneak that they implemented 5 years ago, now 6 years ago, but the Eagles were just starting to use it this year, will not be addressed this year, so it won't be banned. So we still have that in our toolkit. So happy to have the tush push there. It will not get the push out of the league. And that's it for today around the league. Not a lot going down. I mean, it's just typical. Actually, we'll talk about a few more things. Andy Reid expects Sky Moore, their number one pick last year at wide receiver, to step up after the exit. So they lost McCole Hardman, Juju Smith-Schuster, Boo Smith-Schuster signed with the Patriots, 3 years, $33 million. and they're just expecting him to step up. So we'll see how that goes. Don't know, but I mean, the draft was got for a reason. Could they take a plunge and add more speed and to their wide receiver ranks this year? Potentially, maybe. But that will be all. I'm not lying this time. Sorry to get up out of here, but I mean, you're not even watching though. It's all good, because as always, it's fly, Eagles, fly, and let's motherfucking go. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.